up, y'all? It's me, Erica, and we are down here. Peace, y'all. Take care of each other. Protect your energy.
Let's go. What's up, everybody? It's me, Erica, honey, and we are down here, girl. No, we are down here to just talk about some things. We have some housekeeping to do. I just have some things I want to talk to y'all about, some topics that I want to talk to y'all about, just a little bit, and then we'll see what's on the blogs. So, new merch. First things first, before we get into the new merch, I want you to go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment and let the diva know that you stopped by, honey. Share the video, clip the video, share it on TikTok or wherever you have a social media account. Make sure you tag me. The only place I'm not is like Facebook. So like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, you can clip the video or tell me where to clip it, because now you can put a timestamp on. I mean, you used to be able to, but now they've given you an option to put a timestamp on, parts that you like of the video. So I will clip it, 1 minute clip. If it's a little longer, I could put longer clips on, what is it called? On TikTok and on Instagram. I don't put too many clips on Instagram anymore. But anyways, that's besides the point. Share the video, like the video, comment on the video. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and click the bell notification twice so that you can be notified when I premiere a video or upload a video. All right, so I do have new merch. First things first. It says, choose better, chose me. So I hope you guys like it. I think that you guys would love this. That's why I was like, oh, I think you guys are going to really like this. But it says choose better, chose me. So you can go ahead and order those after this video premieres. The link to order the t-shirts. There's t-shirts, sweatshirts, welcome mats. I think there's there's mugs, so like apparel and accessories. So I thought this wasn't going to fit me, but it actually did fit me. This is just the regular t-shirt. So, yeah. Ooh, is this bitch recording? Shout out to T.S. Madison. You always got to give her a shout out. But yeah, so choose better. They tell you to choose better, and you chose yourself. I chose me. So that's it. Maybe I should put I chose me. No, choose better, chose me. That's what I like it. Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I am reading All About Love by the incomparable Bell Hooks. I am reading it. I started to read it a long time ago, but I didn't get as far as I've gotten in the past week. I did want to talk about some things as it relates to, when we talk about choosing ourselves, when they're telling you to choose better and how to choose love and how to love yourself and all this other stuff. But I wanted to talk about, there was a section in here that talked about the family of origin. Now, if you were following me on Instagram, I posted a clip of this woman saying, if you are in a toxic relationship, no matter who it is, basically in the relationship, it doesn't matter who it is, if it's your mom, your dad, your relatives in any kind of way. There was a section in here and I underlined it, but I did not family of origin. Yes, here it is. Here it is. All right, remember, okay, so they talk about family of origin. There's this, I feel like a lot of people in a lot of different cultures, they feel obligated to maintain relationships with people in their family of origin. And they feel obligated even though those relationships are dysfunctional. And when I was reading this, she's talking about examining our relationships with our family of origin, because we always talk about it. Those are your first relationships, and how you operate and show up in those relationships are typically how you're going to show up in every other relationship outside of your family, be it friendships, and romantic partnerships, and things like that. And they talk about how in a lot of families, that the way that children are disciplined, and then the person who's disciplining them turns around and tells them, I'm doing this, this hurts me more than it hurts you, or they turn around and tell you they love you. And right here, I underlined love and abuse cannot exist. This is on page 6 of All About Love by Bell Hooks. It says, this is what I've underlined. So these are what the things that stood out to me. And I just want to kind of just read to you. Well, the definition of love: the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing one's own or another's spiritual growth. And this is from Eric Fromm, The Road Less Traveled, that was published in 1978. And that was his definition of love, right? Love is as love does. Love is an act of will, namely both an intention and an action. Will also implies choice. We don't have to love, we choose to love. To truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. Love and abuse cannot coexist. Abuse and neglect are, by definition, the opposites of nurturance and care. Often we hear a man who beats his children and wife and then goes to the corner bar and passionately proclaims how much he loves them. If you talk to the wife on a good day, she may also insist he loves her, despite his violence. An overwhelming majority of us come from dysfunctional families in which we were taught we were not okay, where we were shamed, verbally and or physically abused, and emotionally neglected, even as we're also taught to believe that we are loved. For most folks, it is just too threatening to embrace the definition of love that would no longer enable us to see love as present in our families. Too many of us need to cling to the notion of love that either makes abuse acceptable, or at least make it seem that whatever happened to us was not that bad. Raised in a family in which aggressive shaming and verbal humiliation coexisted with lots of affection and care, I had difficulty embracing the term dysfunctional. Since I felt and still feel attached to my parents and siblings, proud of all the positive dimensions of our life, I did not want to describe us by using the term that implied our life together had been all negative or bad. I did not want my parents to think I was disparaging them. I was appreciative of all the good things that they had given in the family. With therapeutic help, I was able to see the term dysfunctional as a useful description and not as an absolute negative judgment. My family of origin provided throughout my childhood a dysfunctional setting, and it remains one. This does not mean that it is not also a setting in which affection, delight, and care are present. On any day in my family of origin, I might have been given caring attention wherein my being a smart girl was affirmed and encouraged. Then hours later, I would be told that it was precisely because I thought I was so smart that I was likely to go crazy and be in a mental institution where no one would visit me. Not surprisingly, this odd mixture of care and unkindness did not positively nurture and grow the growth of my spirit. Applying Peck's definition of love to my childhood experience in my household of origin, I could not honestly describe it as loving. I want people to understand that those are relationships like anything else. If you would not deal with an abusive relationship from someone you met and developed a relationship with and it turned abusive, then you should not deal with it from your family of origin. That's what I was trying to say. I'm estranged from my mother. I'm estranged from my father. Those are relationships I choose not to continue because they did not, I wasn't growing from them. I wasn't growing. I did not feel fulfilled in those relationships. And just like I do not choose to have a relationship with my mother or father, I can choose the same thing. I know I have the power to choose the same thing if I don't want to deal with someone else that I've cultivated a relationship with. I'm saying all this to say that I feel like a lot of people feel obliged to maintain relationships that do not foster spiritual growth, that leave them frustrated and angry with a lot of whatever negative emotion that you can attach to it. I feel like people feel like they're obliged to maintain those relationships, and I'm just here to remind you that you're not obliged to continue a relationship. And some family members don't understand that and will continue to try to, keep a relationship between you and them going when you have literally said, I choose not to be in relationship with you, because when I'm in relationship with you, I leave with a lot of negative feelings and emotions, and I don't want that for myself. I want to have peace and harmony. I don't want anyone to feel like they see me as a child and so speak to me as a child. I don't want anyone feeling like they can disrespect me because I'm a child in their eyes and they don't respect me as a grown, damn near 50-year-old woman. You know what I'm saying? So I I'm here to remind you of that. That's all. If you haven't read All About Love, I think it's a great book so far. I've underlined so many things. I write in my book, so I underlined so many things. It says, remember, care is a dimension of love, but simply giving care does not mean we are loving. Before many of us can begin to critically examine childhood experiences and acknowledge the ways in which we have had an impact on our adult behavior, the relationships you have with your family of origin is literally going to dictate how you show up in every other relationship that you have with anyone else. And I want to be clear, when I say relationship, I know a lot of us jump to intimate romantic relationships. I'm talking about all relationships. When I say relationships, I mean who you are relating to at the moment. I'm not talking about a romantic relationship. Include romantic relationships in that, but also include all other types of relationships. It says, and in extreme cases, that abuse is an expression of love. The faulty thinking often shapes our adult perceptions of love, so that just as we would cling to the notion that those who hurt us as children loved us, we try to rationalize being hurt by other adults by insisting that they love us. It says, years of therapy and critical reflection enabled me to accept that there is no stigma attached to acknowledging the lack of love in one's primary relationship. And if one's goal is self-recovery, to be well in one's soul, honestly and realistically confronting lovelessness is a part of the healing process. A lack of sustained love does not mean the absence of care, affection, or pleasure. In fact, my long-term romantic relationships, like the bonds in my family, have been so full of care that it would be quite easy to overlook the ongoing emotional dysfunction. This book is really good. And again, the definition from A Road Less Traveled by Erich Fromm, and I kind of agree. I think I agree with this definition. It is the will to extend oneself for the purpose and nurturing of one's own and other spiritual growth. It says it still took years for me to let go of learned patterns of behavior that negated my capacity to give and receive love. One pattern that made me practice of love especially difficult, made the practice of love especially difficult, was my constantly choosing to be with men who were emotionally wounded, who were not that interested in being loving, even though they desired to be loved. Naturally, my need to receive love was not met. I got what I was accustomed to getting: care and affection, usually mingled with a degree of unkindness, neglect, and on some occasions, outright cruelty. At times, I was unkind. It took me a long time to recognize that while I wanted to know love, I was afraid to truly be intimate. Many of us choose relationships of affection and care that will never become loving because they feel safer. The demands are not as intense as loving requires. The risk is not as great. This is really good. It's really good. When we are loving, we openly and honestly express care, affection, responsibility, respect, commitment, and trust. Definitions are vital starting points for the imagination. What we cannot imagine cannot come into being. That's true. This is really good. So she talks about, in childhood, I'm doing this because I love you. My siblings and I were confused. Why was harsh punishment a gesture of love? As children do, we pretend to accept this as grown-up logic. But we know in our hearts that it's not right. We knew it was a lie. Just like the lie grown-ups told us when they explained after harsh punishment, it hurts me more than it hurts you. There is nothing that creates more confusion about love in the minds and hearts of children than unkind and or cruel punishment meted out by the grown-ups they have been taught they should love and respect. Don't I tell you guys that all the time? It's a mind fuck for somebody to harm you, physically harm you in the guise of punishment, and then turn around and tell you that they love you. And then you wonder why people go into relationships with men and women and end up in abusive relationships and say, but he loves me, because they were treated like that as children. It says on the flip side, it says, cruel punishment have love and respect. Such children learn early on to question the meaning of love, to yearn for love even as they doubt it exists. On the flip side, there are masses of children who grow up confident love is a good feeling, who are never punished, who are allowed to believe that love is only about getting your needs met, your desires satisfied. In that child's mind, love is not about what they have to give. Love is mostly something given to them. When children like these are overindulged, either materially, right? When you want to throw money at children, materially, or by being allowed to act out, this is a form of neglect. These children, though not in any way abused or uncared for, are usually as unclear about love's meaning as their neglected and emotionally abandoned counterparts. Both groups have learned to think about love primarily in relation to good feelings in the context of reward and punishment. From early childhood on, most of us remember being told we are loved when we did things pleasing to our parents, and we learn to give them affirmations of love when they pleased us. As children grow, they associate love more with acts of attention, affection, and caring. They still see parents who attempt to satisfy their desires as giving love. And it says, but love will not be present if the grown-ups who parent don't know how to love. That's deep. It's real. So I was just reminding you. And then this I put in brackets. We all know that irrespective of class or race, other adults rarely intervene to question or challenge what their peers are doing to their children. When you see them, how they're disciplining their children. And also I put, as one man bragged about the aggressive beatings he had received from his mother, sharing that they had been good for him, I interrupted and suggested that he might not be the misogynist woman hater he is today if he had not been brutally beaten by a woman as a child. Although it is too simplistic to assume that just because we are hit as kids we'll grow up to be people who hit, I wanted the group to acknowledge that being physically hurt or abused by grown-ups when we are children has harmful consequences on our adult life. She talks about children's rights and how one woman talked about how she would pinch her child. She didn't abuse him, but she would pinch him. And then Bell Hooks goes on to tell the group, if a man was doing that to a woman, we would call it abuse. But because it's happening to a child, we see that as punishment or childbearing or child rearing, right? She says that's called coercive abuse. Other guests supported this young mother and her husband's methods. I was astounded. Later, with other people, I suggested that had we all been listening to a man tell us that every time his wife or girlfriend does something he doesn't like, he just clamps down on her flesh, pinching her as hard as he can, everyone would be appalled. They would even see that action as both coercive and abusive. Yet they could not acknowledge that it was wrong for an adult to hurt a child in this way. All the parents in the room claimed that they are loving. All the people in that room were college educated. Most called themselves good liberals, supportive of civil rights and feminism. But when it came to the rights of children, they had a different standard. Child, this book is good. No one can rightfully claim to be loving when behaving abusively. Children are told that they are loved even though they are being abused. And she also says, yet lovelessness is not a function of poverty or material lack. In homes where material privileges abound, children suffer emotional neglect and abuse. In order to cope with the pain and wounds inflicted in childhood, most of the men in boyhood sought some form of therapeutic care to find their way back to love. They had to heal. Here's this part. In the prologue of Creating Love, John Bradshaw calls this confusion about love mystification. He shares, I was brought up to believe that love is rooted in blood relationships. You naturally love anyone in your family. Love was not a choice. The love I learned about was bound by duty and obligation. My family taught me our culture's rules and beliefs about love. Even with the best intention, our parents often confused love with what we would now call abuse. To demystify the meaning of love, the art and practice of loving, we need to use sound definitions of love when talking with children, and we also need to ensure that loving action is never tainted with abuse. They cling to the misguided assumption that their parents love them even in the face of remembered abuse, usually by denying the abuse and focusing on random acts of care. That's what I'm saying. When you are in relationships with these people, it's okay to say, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. I don't care who you are. And that's all I have to say about that. I wanted to share that with y'all. Also, my CBD stuff came. This is milk chocolate. I've already taken the mint chocolate. This is the cranberry chocolate. I can't wait to taste this. And this is the lavender chocolate. This is CBD and CBN. So these are available through my affiliate link. It's in the description box. The mint chocolate was good and had me feeling relaxed. You know what I'm saying? CBD is good. CBD does not have the psychoactive effects of THC that you would find in, cannabis. Okay, so just want to let you know that no psychoactive effects of THC. All right. Anything else I have to tell y'all? I wanted to just talk to y'all about that. That was on my heart and in my spirit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we'll make another video because this is already 24 minutes. So yeah, let's make another video. Yeah, let's make another video. Go ahead. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. Subscribe, share. If you guys want to go get the book, maybe we'll talk about it again. Because I'm just a quarter ways through the book. I'll probably finish it this week. So if y'all want to talk about it, if y'all want to go get it, if y'all want to get it on Audible and listen to it. I like to, some books I prefer to have the physical copy because I like to write in the book and underline and stuff like that, things that jump out at me. So, and don't forget your choose better, chose me. So don't forget that. That's going to be available after this video ends. Take care of each other, protect your energy, and let's get down in the comments. Peace.